And we are back, ready to go with the OSSAA High School Championship. Once again, with League of Legends on the horizon. Game 1 is done as Edmond Memorial showed up and showed out a crazy Game 1 with an extremely unorthodox champion pool. That was one of the ones that we said, honestly, there's not a lot that can be done when you don't have strong engage. They proved us wrong every single moment.
Yeah, I mean, when you looked at the draft alone there, I agreed. I saw someone in chat say it too, and I had to agree. I thought Jenks won that game alone on draft. And going into that game, it just snapped. And one thing I have to say about that is just strategy and game plan. Edmond looked like they had a strategy and they knew how to play that comp. They knew what their win con was. They knew how to progress into that game. And Jenks seemed to kind of lack that same kind of direction, at least there in game 1. So making those adjustments is going to be what they need to do. And if you're Edmond, do exactly what you just did, because that was fun to watch.
I think a huge part of that, though, is Jenks Varsity, once again, had a very weird early game. We saw the glimmers of what they can do moving into that mid game. We saw the strategies that they could employ. It's just the gold lead was a little bit too far out of their control at that point. So I'm actually very curious. We talked about Edmond Memorial. They took a great lead at the early start and then ran with it afterwards. I want to see them be able to manufacture a lead on their own. And when we talk about manufacturing a lead, it's how do you actually get that gold instead of someone diving a tower and messing up the dive, or an enemy laner not really being in the right position and you punish? You need to learn how to make those yourselves. And I'm actually looking more at Fake. Fake on the Lilia was so good, and I think should be banned out for game number 2. Do I think that they're going to? I'm not sure. Edmond Memorial, I don't know if they're on the blue side or red side, depending on what Jenks Varsity choose. I'm very curious to see how it goes down, but I really do want to see Jenks Varsity be able to build their own leads, and I want to see Edmond be able to build their own as well.
Yeah, what you said is like spot on in terms of what Edmond had that game. They were handed that gold lead. It was failed execution after failed execution, which I find to be a little bit bizarre in that game because Jenks slaughters that late game. It's not even close. So why are you playing with such early game aggression when you don't really win the early game? So it was just interesting to see. I think that's going to be cleaned up. I agree. I think Lillian needs to go. That was way too strong, and it was played so well. Only one death, I think, in that game, maybe 2, and a lot of presence along the entirety of the map. So it was really well played. I think we need to see some adjustments from Jenks, and I agree. I want to see if Edmond are going to be able to create their own lead, and if they're going to be given that opportunity in this second game.
Now, taking a look at where it comes down to, obviously our main focus was on the bot side. A triple kill, triple finish there by Pink was a big part of it, and the reason I stumbled is because it was weird seeing Rel get 3 right there. I was like, that looks very, very weird. How do we think about Pink and the Jhin Rel combination? Because that was, again, what we said was a very mainstay style. The Rel and the Jhin are not unknown to us. How do you think it did outside of that fact? Because even with those 3 eliminations, they did seem to be on the back foot. Do we see them run that again, or do we see something change up?
I think it's got to change. I really liked the Rel. I think that there were some times where we saw that Pink was getting picked off a little bit, kind of towards some objectives before the fights were happening, but there were also some great engage combinations with the set. So I liked some stuff. I didn't like some other stuff. I think the Jhin didn't really do much that game. In terms of damage, didn't have much impact. I think if those 3 kills at the start go to the Jhin instead of the Rel, maybe that's a little bit of a different story, but I think there's a lot more ADC picks that were not banned there that could have had a lot more impact regardless.
I would agree. You're taking a look at the Misfortune on the other side. Jhin Misfortune have fallen down the ladder of high tier picks in a while. We've seen the Varus, we've seen hyperscalers actually come into the meta. We're talking about the Jinx, we're talking about the Varus, we're talking about Vayne. Even has been popping up a lot in different solo queue and also some competitive play. Seeing the Caitlyn sometimes just for lane presence. Like there are other champions that can do the same, but at the same time, we're talking about comfortability levels. If these are the champions that they're most comfortable with, we need that. One thing that I'm looking at in the mid lane, specifically for Element, the Yasuo didn't really do what I think we wanted the Yasuo to do. It was very much negated by that R5 set, which spot on by Ori. Very nicely played, well timed. We rarely ever saw a good knock up. The last breath barely came about. Do we see Element change things up now?
I think it has to. I think what we saw in that game was that this is going to be team fight after team fight after team fight. There was not many instances where Yasuo was given an opportunity to excel in kind of a 1 versus 1 fight, or had an opportunity to really get that ultimate off in a multiple champion capacity. So I think adjusting your mid lane pick towards a more team fight, or even just more of an AoE champion, something that's going to have more impact regardless of how many people you have in front of you, is going to be a much better option.
I would sit behind that one too, considering we saw Chai Sin on the top side. That was one that I will get flamed if I ever try and run Anivia in the top lane, 100%. But I would almost want to see the Anivia in the mid lane as well. If you want to enable Element into the top side, you can lane swap. That shouldn't cause too many problems. But we do have to wait and see. Is that actually going to happen or not? That'll be left up to wonder. I want to take a look on the other side. If we do see a swap out of that Yasuo for Element, I can only expect Ori Zaithu is going to try and run something else. I think that set was specifically for that Yasuo, and it's not going to happen again. If they do get red side, once again, what do you think Ori wants to bring out? Because we saw the long-range poke taken away. It was the Lux. It was the Malzahar, I think, denied. Do we see more of those come up? Or do we think Ori is going to have something a little bit different as well?
One thing that I saw in Ori's playstyle was a lot of run it in, go for it. And I liked it to an extent. And I think this is a very dependent pick, kind of what on the other team picks. I want to see Sylas.
Ooh, okay. Why the Sylas? I'm curious.
So other than the fact that there is a lot of lifesteal sustain there with that W, and a lot of hidden damage, I think the use of the ultimates for Ori is going to be huge, because it looked like they wanted to engage. It looked like they were the main engage, even with the Rel on the team for this Edmond side. And so I want to see if you have an opportunity. So let's say you have some really nice engage ultimates on the Jenks side, having the opportunity to steal those, as well as what seemed to be some pretty nice mechanical play from Ori as well. I think pairing those together, you're going to have an opportunity to really snowball regardless of where you put it.
I will agree with that. I think the Sylas would be a very fun one, but we will have to say that's a very technical champion as well. You have to have a lot of good game knowledge. You have to know enemy abilities. You have to know what they can do. You have to know when to use it as well, because the cooldown timers are very, very long. You have to know exactly when to pull it off, so I'll be very curious about that one. I do like that call out, though. The Cassante in the top lane, though, I think can stay. That was great. Malinov played that to such a fair extent. And if for some reason you actually ban out the Anivia, and you look on the other side and Kai Sin doesn't really have anything else in the back pocket, I think Malinov has free reign to do just about anything. Like, this Cassante played almost flawlessly.
Yeah, there's not much to say about the game that was played there. There was one, maybe two instances where I think it was a little bit mispositioned, and it could have been played better, but nothing really substantial where I go, that was a really big mistake. It was clean throughout. Cassante is Cassante, so I mean, that champion alone gives you stability. So I'll be interesting to see. Well, there you go.
Yep, we were talking about it just right there. We're like, let's see it again. Nope, taken away immediately. On that red side, it is going to be Jenks Varsity saying we don't want to deal with that champion. In the same vein, though, Edmond still taking away that cane. They do not want to allow Pansarai to have that one. I think it's an appropriate response. Multi-bans, though, doubling up on the solo lanes. Jenks Varsity saying those were actually our two main throttles. Are we going to see the Lilia ban now?
I think you have to. I don't like the set ban, to be honest with you. I don't think that got locked this game. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm surprised to see Lilia make it through. Aatrox would be... That's a massive pick.
Malinov going to go ahead and carry that one forward. The Aatrox was banned away in game number 1 as well. But this does leave open the Camille. This is now a straight-up counter-to-counter matchup. Or I wouldn't say counter-to-counter. This is going to be a little bit of a bloody brawl in the top side. Camille and Aatrox are well known as damage dealers, the bruisers in the early to mid. They want to fight it out. Later on, Camille does have the chunk ability, but if Malinov can get off to a good start, that might be it. Now a bit more safety to come out as well. Ezreal locked in for Baiko in that bot side, or Stop Scuttle, I think, in that bot side. It's going to be pretty nice to have, but you're going to pair it with most likely a long-range piece. Plight, I wouldn't be surprised to see go a more utility support.
Yeah, I mean, into this Ezreal, I'm trying to think ADC picks I'd like to see, and the number one thing that's popping up to me right now, maybe a little biased. Oh, I don't know. I don't like that. I'm gonna be honest, I hate the Jin pick. But it's okay. Jin it is. I was wanting a little something exciting, maybe like a Kog'Maw or a Twitch, but we'll take a Jin. It's gonna be long range as well, so. And the Lilia is locked there. That's huge.
I like it. I like it. It's going to be all in the face, and I do not want to see another Karthus. That is the other side of it. This is much better. I like this. If this is going to be a Zac for the side of Panserai, great engage tool. You also have very immobile champions on the other side. Solid pickup here to round out the first half of the draft.
Yeah, this is a very interesting 3 picks on each side. We almost 100%. You probably will know this better than me, but that's almost 100% Camille top, right?
It should be. Granted, you are correct. The Camille support has been a thing before, and if you want to flex it down to the bot side, I think it's still doable. It's not impossible, but you can do it. But I do agree. I think this is more top because I think Kaisen has a lot of games played on Camille.
Oh, I just saw that. Yeah. What? The support has a little too, actually. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it's top.
That's the other side of it. We're both kind of lost in the sauce here about this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's top. I want it to be support. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it'd be fun to watch that. But again, I think major oversight in letting this Lilia slip through. I think letting Fake get onto this comfort pick was a little bit of a mistake. If you got Malinov on the Aatrox, you're essentially playing Cassante number 2, and Jin. You know what I think about the Jin. I like both team comps right now. I think both of them have win cons. Both of them are a good spot. I do like that Tom Kench ban.
Surprisingly enough, if you have an Ezreal, you don't normally draft a Tom Kench afterwards. Ezreal has enough safety. This is going to be a big challenge, though. If we do see this Veigar locked in here, in that mid lane, Orya is going to be so much more safe. This would land in their playstyle and in their wheelhouse. A little bit, or for Element, it's just very safe. But if Orya wishes to do so, you can play something like the Twisted Fate. I don't think that would be a bad one. You just say you don't care about the lane, rotate outside and try and have influence somewhere else. Of course, we do have to wait and see. It's going to be Seraphine, though. What a call down. This would be surprising. This is now locking you into a more teamfight centric composition. If that is a mid lane Seraphine.
I don't know if I like that. This is.
Oh, it is support. I'm so sorry. I forget Pink loves Seraphine. It's Rel, Seraphine, Morgana are their top lane.
Okay. I like that a little more in the bot lane. I gotta be honest. This is interesting team comp here. I'm very interested to see who this 5th pick is. Oh, do it. Do it. Yes. Yes.
It's so good. This is... So, considering what they played in game number 1, Edmond Memorial are going for a much more snowbally composition. Like, this is... Get the eliminations, get the takedowns, get a lot of gold, and pray to God we don't hit late game.
Yeah. Ooh, dear.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. That's a massive pick. That is going to be Camille support, though, isn't it? Or am I wrong?
Mm-hmm. No, this is Camille support. You are correct. We are wondering exactly what goes down and how it's going to mix up. And I kind of like this. This is going to be a little bit of a difference. Now, in the same vein, though, take a look. This is going to be Kai Sin on the Zac top lane. If that is correct, that'll be a big matchup difference as well. Because that means Udyr in the jungle doesn't have the engage options. You actually locked your most engage in that top side. And you use Udyr for the clear. And once again, to deny Fake a lot of that early aggression. Remember, the card that's falling 3 to 4 times, not able to get a lot of those global objectives, was one of the reasons that Edmond Memorial got such a lead in game 1.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say is that bot lane, to me, looks impossible to play for Edmond. Ezreal Camille into Jin Seraphine, especially level 2 and level 3, that should be in Jenks Varsity side the whole time. And I'm interested to see how they're going to be able to take advantage of that. On the top side, I actually love the Zac pick. I don't think Aatrox has any kill pressure into a Zac.
True.
That being said, you do, as you said, lose a lot of engage across the map in the early stages and in laning phase, because Zac's going to be solely up there at top. Maybe he gets included in the Void Mites fight if there is one. But the Udyr sustain as well is going to shut down some of that very early Lilia aggression, because Udyr really can just counter smack you in the face.
And that's going to be on Panterai. I think Panterai had a very difficult game, number one. And sitting there taking a look at what went down, you have to kind of rethink things. And the reshaping from Karthus to an Udyr, I think is a big one. It's a very big hop. It still does fundamentally the same thing. Clear, farm, do whatever. But you have the tankiness behind. As long as you don't fall behind too quickly, I think you optimize into, I think, a little bit of the burn build. What is it? I think you go... I want to say you go Leandri's build if you want to go for a little bit more damage oriented, and then you field into the tank stats afterwards. It is doable. It's not impossible. It can work. From there, though, still have to watch for. A lot of these teams have already obviously played once. We want to watch Jenks Varsity. I don't think we want a level 3 dive again.
No, please no. I beg you not to. And I don't think they even have the facilities to do it this time under any circumstance.
We thought the same thing in game 1, though.
You're right. I mean, maybe I see the thought process there. Being the delusional Tom Kench player that I am, I think that I can W under a turret and take somebody out no matter what. So I understand it. But this time around, it's not there. I don't see it happening. Unless Camille is... I don't know. But please know... I do want to say Udyr into this comp, 100% you hit the nail on the head, should be going the Leandri's build. I think you pop Leandri's first, and then you full tank it. Because that it's going to give you the damage you need, and it's going to give you a lot of sustain, but it's hidden damage. Udyr does too much with a full tank build. So I think it's going to be a solid option to take that route.
And you're fielding that into the likes of Fake, who was very aggressive on the Lilia. One of the things, though, for Edmond Memorial, we did see them struggle a little bit in closing out that game at the end. This time around, they have many more tools to work with. They have a lot of engaged tools. You're looking at, I think, Ori on that Silas. You can grab just about any ultimate, and you can work to try and eliminate some of the other members on the other side, and then just work your way forward. If Edmond Memorial get a lead, I expect them to be able to close out well. I expect them to have control over the dragons, other objectives, be able to rule those fights in a much more standardized way than they were in game number 1, because game 1 was a little bit difficult to watch. For the side of Jenks Varsity, though, K-Factor, where do they get their leads? And if they do get a lead, are they allowed to actually push forward with it?
That's a hard question. I don't think top is going to be prioritized in the slightest. I think you let that lane be a solo island. Zac's just going to be kind of like team fight utility for you this game. I don't see much coming out of there. I think that Jenks has a great opportunity in those early team fights to take advantage of the Zac, though. I think the AoE CC that you have there is going to be very useful. Where I want to see the priority here is in this mid lane, in shutting down the Silas, in getting the Vygar to that 1000 AP mark as fast as you can. Because that is a lot of range that's going to be hard to kind of dive into. That Vygar is going to be behind the protection of an Udyr, of a Zac. Camille's going to be able to section off the fight as well. So if that Vygar gets ahead, I could see that being nasty. It does look like they're at least aiming early on this build to go for that Rod of Ages Seraph's build instead of the Luden Stormrazor. So it's going to be a lot of extra sustain for that Vygar too.
It's going to be very painful to see what happens. Of course, we are into game number 2. Edmond Memorial coming in as 4 seed, looking to dominate their way into this grand finals. If they win here, they are the champions of the OSSAA League of Legends Championship Division here. And that, I think, would be a lot of fun. A great way to cap off the entirety of this grand finals weekend to everyone who has tuned in so far across Rocket League as well as Splatoon 3. We appreciate everyone here today. Right now, we are getting opposite side starts, though, for the junglers as Panterai is going ahead, setting themselves up for a quick clear with that blue buff.
Yeah, that is going to put that early level 3 prio over towards that top side, which is interesting. I mean, Udyr has to start blue buff, I think. especially early on. That's a lot of mana being used switching between the forms. So uh, it's going to be interesting to see because this Sylas definitely has a lot of lane pressure early if they're able to connect on some of those abilities. And the Vygar is going to get bullied very early here until they get to that level 2, level 3 spot where that cage is up, so they can at least feel a little safer in that lane. In the bot lane, I'm expecting Camille to go very aggressive level 2, if not level 3 as well. But Sylas is doing exactly what we expected, almost finding enough damage to try and get that pick through. But Vygar is going to be out of this lane for a while.
It's one of those things, as someone that is a Vygar main myself, for those that don't know, I have a Vygar profile picture on my Discord. I've had this for ages, ever since I first made my Discord account. I love it. He is horrendous. He does not ever win lane. If a Vygar ever wins lane, by the way, something has gone drastically wrong. There is a problem on the map. It just doesn't happen. So for Ori, this is the standard route. I'm almost surprised you didn't run the Ignite in that situation as well.
Yeah, and it has to be, Udyr's focus has to be in helping that Vygar, because Sylas will pick it apart. It's going to happen regardless. If Udyr is able to get that fight kind of tilted a little bit more in the direction of Vygar, help when that wave is pushed under the turret, it's going to be a much different story, and it's going to help Ori in the long run here. Ooh. A lot of damage coming through from that Aatrox, but Zach will have the passive regardless, so not too worried about it.
And remember, this is something that we talked about as well. Jenks did a very good job in game 1 of having a methodical laning phase. Outside of the kills, they were very clean in how they got some of their gold leads. We saw a balloon, or it wasn't even a balloon, it was keeping it the same. It was only, I think, within 100 gold difference between both. And so that was a big part of it. However, this early gank towards the top side that Malinov was not prepared for, had no wards available. No flash to be used here. You're just going to eat a lot of the damage, and you're just unfortunately dead. Malinov falling early.
Yeah, I mean, you have to expect that to be happening, I think, because you knew it was a bot lane start for that Udyr.
Oh.
You knew he's pathing up, but here's Fake trying to trade this one out, and he's got a very good position to do so, too. A little bit of damage coming through, but Camille's gone, and that's nothing. That's no response. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon?
Maybe just a little bit, but Plight went back in, and this is actually going to be the change-up. A final shot to finish it off as Baiko takes one. Plight, though, able to find the Ignite on the bottom side on Pink, who's going to fall, but a flash forward. Final shot, double up for Baiko.
Wow, I didn't see that killing. I thought that was going to be very small, or very little health left. I don't like the re-engage there. I think they were out. I don't understand the decision to fight back in there, but what a response. I mean, it's 2 for 2. Zach is gonna really start to abuse this Aatrox though.
I mean, we say that, but that final slam is going to pop the cell division, and I think this is a kill. This is, I think, going to be that finish on top. Malinov should have a final Q up. You are going to slam down. Flashes up for Kai, but Kai, you can't flash away. Malinov still holding their own. The blob is sent back to the respawn.
I'm going to take responsibility for that one.
You captured that to oblivion.
Yeah, I apologize, Zach. That's on me. We do see both champions in that top lane opting for the anti-heal early, which has to happen into a Zach and an Aatrox. So the kill pressure for both of them is going to drop a little bit, but that's a huge response. Aatrox needed that. You have your CS lead now. Wave's going to be pretty much stalled out in that top side, as we do see Fake pressuring for those early mites, and here's Sylas. This should be a kill.
No chance whatsoever. The stolen Primordial Burst is just too strong. And this is vastly different than what we saw in game number 1. Keep in mind, Jenks were the ones to initialize a very early 3-man dive on the bot side in game 1, and it went awry. That's what happened. And then in game 2, we mentioned at the start that we want to see these leads kind of grown through Edmond being proactive. They've done so far. Yes, you lose out on a dragon, but it's a cloud. You don't really care about a cloud dragon. You're about 700 gold up. Pink is strong. Baiko is strong. Ori is strong. Fake is strong. Malinov is strong. Edmond Memorial are doing pretty much exactly what they did prior to, and Kai Sin on the Zach on the top side is not enjoying what's going down.
No, and his passive is gone for a long time. So this lane's going to be a little bit unplayable for a while. The Aatrox just strictly out damages, and it's not even close. The CC might help a little bit. Zach will still be able to reliably CS with the W, at least. So it's not going to be a complete shutdown in that lane, but everything is gone in favor of Edmond in this early game. Something that I did not expect to happen again, and it's just going to be more Silas, and this is just the Vigar experience.
It's because you don't have the right skin for it. You need Bat Santa Vigar and spam the B. You need to spam the recall, and you just pop up a chimney every time in lane. It's great. It's very annoying. But for annoyance's sake, this happens, and this time you don't even need that final hit. This is going to just hurt Element. Not allowed to play the game. You are seeing the CS go their favor, but that's only because it's a range versus melee matchup. At this point, Panterai giving over that the mid lane is lost. And I actually really like this. Calling out that the mid lane is lost says, hey, okay, we're going to focus on something else. We are going to look to try and get a little bit of value somewhere else, and that's the whole call here. Panterai, though, sprinting away, trying to play it safe, and I don't think this is going to happen. A little bit chase Seedling dodged away from, but it hits the downside. No way, Element. You are so slowed. If that were level 6, Fake would have absolutely hit that lulting lullaby.
Woo! If Element dies there, my mindset, I'm typing in chat FF15. I'm done.
Yes, I'm tilted beyond belief, bro.
My game's over. Now, this should be a kill for Aatrox. I don't see how it's not. And that's going to continue this snowball here for Edmond.
Oh, man.
I think.
Yes, it is going to be that finish. Kai Sin is gone. A final slam should go through, and it's just a jump over. The dash is too good. Aatrox, a champion that we've seen decimate leagues, is on the warpath.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. The early game was the play for Jenks, and now it's not there. And now I'm struggling to see a play.
Yep.
Now, that being said, with the chaos that game number 1 was, that means absolutely nothing. I mean, anything could happen. Anything could happen in this game regardless, and it's going to be interesting to see how Jenks fights back. Maybe it's going to be the bot lane, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that game 1, we had, what was it, like a 4K lead in favor of Edmond for a little bit. They had multi-kills, and then we just went, oh yeah, but Jenks doing Jenks things. That can happen. It's too real, man.
Yeah, the only thing that Jenks doesn't have this game that they had in that last is the same amount of late game scale. It's not there. Now, this is a great way to try and get this Silas cut off. Flash shuts it down.
Oh, there it is. The ultimate lullaby goes in, but Ori is a little bit too low, so the follow-up might not be there. And you're just looking for a way to kind of wait for that execute to come through. A final slap of the Q. No bop to go through. Yes, it does. Event Horizon is not going to be enough. Panterai realizing they're in a little bit of a dangerous spot. A final Q to land, but the bot side is where we're going to turn our eyes. Hextech ultimate gets up underneath the tower, but the Exhaust's going to go down, and Baiko is going to live. Baiko lives, and that is the Camille to fall. Curtain call, maybe in the death, but two-shot barrage will finish you off. You can't do that in a stationary target situation. What a disastrous situation to happen for Jenks. They are not going to allow this one to happen. Ori is taking solo, a final Q to the back end, but Kaisen loses their TP. That is going to allow Malinov to farm up well, but Edmond, strong fights around.
Yeah, that was impressive, actually, by the Jin living that. The True Shot Barrage is a good trade and might actually be trying to find the kill, but the minions will save off the Q. And it looks like Fake's going to come down here to try and clean this up. That gonna hit it
hits too.
Yeah, that's a cleanup.
Yep, that's done. Fake is once again going god tier here. 2-0-2 early start. And yes, Panterai is a little bit stronger. Panterai is 0-1, has a little bit better farming champion that doesn't rely so heavily on getting massive team fight wins or anything like that. You can just power farm. I'm still scared. I'm still disliking what we're seeing here out of Jenks Varsity. And Edmond are putting on a show, the 4th seed, trying to upend the 1st seed here.
All signs are pointing towards they're going to do it. I will say one thing that I didn't like in that whole process. Canceling the TP, good. You get your Aatrox a plate and a wave. Is it worth dying to the Zac there? I'm not quite sure. So that was a little interesting to see the Silas opt to not recall and go for that cancel instead. That's a whole lot of lane prio, though, for this Aatrox. But look at the positioning of the Udyr. They've got him. They got him pretty sectioned off. It's going to be an attempt at a proxy, but Aatrox is going to struggle to get out of this.
Aatrox will, and you don't even use that world ender. You say, hey, I'm going to try and fight it, and that was a really late ult time. Of course, on the bot side, we might see a difference. Plight of Icarus, realizing they flew a little bit too close to the sun, but you're able to flash away and get back to the safety. So Jenks get a 1-for-0 in terms of map favor. On the bot side, though, it is still the dragon to be taken. A 1-1 dragon situation will put Edmond in a nice spot.
I will say the Ezreal does have a little bit of extra pressure with the Essence, able to build that a little earlier than this Jhin with a 20 CS lead. It's going to fall off a little bit as Lilia continues to have this presence down here on this bot side. Aatrox continuing to slap down this damage into the Zac. For Malinov, I think you need to slow down a little bit. I don't think that proxy was necessary. You've already got such a lead in this lane, and you're kind of just handing it away by giving over that free kill, especially to the Udyr, who's going to be a key part of this comeback if it's going to happen.
Uh-oh. Well, the comeback could come back right now. This is going to be a damage restore. Malinov forcing Kaisen away. But with the draw in, this is the big one that you want because you saw Fake roaming in. This is a great call to come down. You say, yo, we can't take this right away, so we're not going to force it. Instead, we're going to look for the kill. Malinov so quickly loses their life again.
And it's just a little bit of map awareness there, I think. You have to know that they're on that objective. Your team seemed to know. So you just have to be aware of your positioning. But again, I love that Camille roam up. Camille, that is what Camille excels at in the support position. Finding those roams and finding those unexpected engages and just pure lockdowns. What I'm going to be interested to see, this game is going to lie heavily now in the hands of Fake and Sylas as we approach this mid game. And Sylas is going to be the main point of impact here, I think, with these stolen ults. How is Sylas going to take advantage of things like the Vigar ult and the Camille ult as we've got a massive bot game fight happening?
Oh, it's so good, though. Remember, Baiko, one of the few that is fully fed on Edmond's side. A flash exhaust to ensure Plight cannot run. The Jhin that we called out earlier, not having a massive impact, is starting to become destructive.
Yeah, and maybe it's because we don't see 3 kills on the Seraphine this time, but the Jhin is massive. Early collector started as well. I think with 5 kills, 92 CS, they should be very close to a second item on this back, or at least a lot of the components for that item finished. Jhin is very far ahead. Here's that Camille ult coming out from the Sylas here in the mid lane. It should be very close to a kill, but Flash is forced to come out from that Vigar, and that's a lot of survivability for this next 5 minutes that's gone for that AP mage.
Quite honestly, I'm impressed that Element has only died twice. This is, I feel, should be a lot more. And in that situation, I think you're okay. Edmond Memorial not only losing out on the top side, Malinov, though, is able to get a little bit of help back. You're not able to take this Herald. You can break open one of the towers as soon as possible. And just about any lane will do. Take a look at the strength of just about everywhere. Edmond Memorial, they can unleash any lane they so choose and get that dub. And I mean, this one might be the easiest. It's a simple kill, no stun to come through. It's a finish on Element. As now, it's a little bit of a secondary. Round 2, ready to go. A little bit of a fight. No chains to land, though. Pantherai doesn't want to follow up. So instead, it's a 3v2 situation where everyone backs away.
Yeah, this is so solidly played here from Edmond. I'm really impressed. Although, again, we see a very nice lead up there on the scoreboard. The gold lead is not that big, which it's around 900, which is decent, but it's not as much as I would expect. I mean, watching this game, it feels like all Edmond. It feels like a complete shutdown across all lanes. So it's not too far out of reach here for Jenks, as this is going to be a little engage here down in the bot side.
Oh, and that's a good catch, though. Pink has to run away, and Fake has to flash as well. No one will fall just yet. But Ori gonna grab that True Shot Barrage. They're gonna look at Plight, who has gotten stuck once again. And a dash away means you're safe. The repel's doing their work. But I'm just wholly surprised. No one really falling in the last few minutes. Even though we're at 11 and 6. No towers to fall just yet either.
Looks like with Fake coming down here, they might be trying to push the aggression on the bot side. Seraphine all committed. That's gonna be the route as well. On top of a stun, another pick found. Should be 2. 2 for 1. Solid.
Just so easy. And Fake is just like, yo, I have no problems. This is great. This is easy. This is out of control once again. Edmond Memorial are looking so dominant right now.
Yeah, and that gold lead expanded pretty fast too. Now the Aatrox is going to have a little bit of a problem here. This Zac is very healthy. The Aatrox has the anti-heal stacked on him too. This looks like it's going to be a pick if the Udyr can catch up, which they should. Nice CC found, and it is going to be a nice trade on this top side. But again, all of these picks are funneling into the Zac, which I'm not a fan of. I'd like to see that go onto the Udyr. I'd like to see that go onto anybody else on that team.
it's another 300 gold that's just not going to go their way, and I got to agree. Panther Rye 1-0-3 for how much they have been invested in getting some of those lanes ahead, as well as trying to lay down the ganks. Only 113 CS. You're not that far ahead. Take a look. Fake is already 2 items deep. You're perfectly okay with the situation. Panther Rye, your main force to be reckoned with, is just trying to get these dragons. This is a mountain dragon. The soul itself will allow a lot more safety to come from behind, and Edmond Memorial, I think, will actually really like that one. But in this situation, Jenks Varsity are realizing that they need to accelerate this game. They need to start pressing forward, and this might be the chance. That's Pink. She is gone. Not a chance to worry.
Yeah, that's going to be the Drake converted as well. It should be top lane turret traded out for it, though. So it will be first turret gold going over... Oh, no. First turret mid already fell, so I'm wrong. But it will be a turret dropping for Edmond. Looks like that the Aatrox is going to take that one up. That's a good little comeback there for Jenks Varsity. They needed that. There are 2 Drakes up now, and it is Mountain Drake, which actually is going to be very valuable for them if they're able to continue to stack those up, because you're going to be taking away some of that damage passively. You're going to get yourself a little bit of a shield if you find the soul. So that is going to be nice for Jenks, especially on the likes of a Zac and an Udyr, who's just going to be able to run at you in that front.
It's just the barrel down the lane, and that's our goal play. Just run straight at you. That's all we're going to look at. For the current moment, Edmond Memorial going back to that little calm and collected situation. Stop Scuttle and Flight trying to chunk through this tower. As soon as it's gone, maybe you can start utilizing some extra advantage. Ori, though, with the Hextech Ultimatum, could cause a little bit of confusion. It's going to be a dive in, a little bit of a knock-up. Easy catch. Pink, though, able to grant a late and an amazing encore, but what more can be done? Fake trying to get that damage down. Very nice event in Horizon to keep everyone soloed away, but the blast code over puts Pink into dire straits. A launch by Kai Sin, though. I don't think that's what you wanted, and now you're gone. What a re-engage situation to have, and you are annihilated. Not a moment to lose in this bottom lane. It will be Ori to fall. 1 for 1, though. And honestly, I think that's a win for Jenks.
Yeah. I'm just kind of confused as to why the Zac did that. But I do like the Camille pick, or Camille getting that pick in the bot lane on the Sylas. That's a lot of shutdown gold. The Camille already has Eclipse finished. I'm thinking maybe Black Cleaver possibly for that second item, or Sundered Sky is actually probably going to be the second item for that Camille. So that's going to start to get really strong, and that's going to start to also not look like a support in the slightest as this game begins to progress. That was an interesting kind of invade. I like what Edmond is doing in terms of trying to keep this slow progression for the Udyr. Trying to shut down some of that farm and keep the Udyr away from more of this late game scale as they continue, but you have to be a little bit more careful as to how you execute it.
Gotta be very smart, gotta be consistent with it as well. We've seen them pull off very strong fights. We've seen them start strong advances into enemy territory. And with the map opened up now, with that bottom lane tower going down, I do expect them to play a little bit more open. That's a 5-0-2 Lilia, who, once again, Lee Andres and Rylai is able to slow just about anyone in the game. But with Baron up and available, you could start looking. You have the Shred, you have the max HP damage. What you don't have is Pink getting to stay alive, and you are just gone. However, no, you're safe. No Primordial Burst to come out, so Element is not going to get that finish. And now Malinov forcing the flash away, but guess who's ready to go? It's an easy cleanup as once again, it's an encore to land, not reaching Plight, but it's enough to drop 2. Edmond Memorial find 2 free ones, and Pink gets to live through all of it.
Unimaginable that the Seraphine lives through all of that. What a great play. Crazy. And then on top of that, not to leave the fight, but to understand that your ultimate is going to be a huge part of continuing the engage. That was massive play from Pink. She has proved to be a very solid point of contact for this Edmond squad and has continued to perform consistently throughout this game. And now it's Ori going into 3 here. This is questionable, but the root follow through from Seraphine, it looks like it's going to be the lockdown here, and a huge kill again going towards this Camille, who's being continued to funnel gold.
And this was a bit greedy. Right here, Baron does so much extra damage. You do not have any of the tanks that you had from before. To lose only 1 in that entire attempt, I think is a big dub for Edmond Memorial. They should have lost more considering how Jenks were starting to collapse in. However, Jenks is now going to start clearing out this wave. They're going to start pressuring in. They get the tower for free pretty much, and they get some of that long-standing gold that they had to fight for. That puts them into a 500 gold deficit. This is not impossible. Dragon, though, will be the main call here. It will be the 4th of the game and a 3rd if Jenks Varsity are able to pick it up.
Yeah, the gold lead graph on this probably looks a little bit like my heart rate as well when I'm watching these team fights go underway. It is back and forth, up and down, because Edmond, I think at one point was up around 2.5, 3K just a couple minutes ago. Jenks has got it all the way back down to under 800. So what a way to fight back. The kill deficit is right back down as well. Camille is going to be massive. Camille doesn't have that Sunder Sky finished yet, but they're already pumping so much damage. And that heal on top of it is going to be huge in helping the ability to stay in the fights a little bit longer. Vygar is going to have the Seraphs finished soon as well, so that's going to be a nice shield to help stay alive when that Silas dives in. Everything looking a little bit better for Jenks, as this is going to turn into a fight here for the Mountain Crate.
I mean, we got to watch that TP coming in here. Ori ready to go on the side, and it is going to be called down. Encore lands on 4, though. Massive hold, but the TP is so late. The burn isn't up, and the Dragon is secured by the side of Malinov. Death reigns from above and below, though, as 3 are gone on Edmond Memorial. And honestly, Jenks, you might have lost the Dragon, but you didn't really need it. It's a mountain. You can now just head for Baron.
It should be the Baron. And again, huge shutdown for Udyr. Getting that bonus gold on the Lilia pick, that's massive. Malinov getting the Drake at least is a little bit of something. You keep Jenks off of Soul Point, but does that really match up towards 3 picks and a Baron? No, absolutely not. Jenks, this is massive. They're now in the game. They're now in the lead, and this is huge for the overall late game scale for this side. It's going to be a massive turnaround here, and now it's up to Edmond to respond if they can.
I mean, it's have no smite to come in here, of course, so Ori will sacrifice their life. It seems things are looking a bit dire here. Edmond Memorial starting to lose out on a lot of their fights. Plight roaming into the side. And it seems that things are starting to lean in Jenks' way. This is squad, but that's going to be the Lilting Lullaby. You catch 2. No real damage to follow in behind. There's the final slam. That's what I was looking for. Pantarai will fall as well. Baron buff taken off of 2 as Edmond Memorial flood the field.
Yeah, that is a perfect response. Lilia gets shut down in the Dragon Pit and then comes back and gets a 600 gold shutdown at the Baron Pit. We'll take that. And it looks like the Lilia going for a much different build path, which is going to help to try and get that engage into that backline with the Hextech Rocket Belt. That is not common. That almost seems like a mistake, but... Yeah,
no, listen, let him cook. Let him cook. Have a little bit of fun.
I mean, it worked there. They were able to use that to get that final little bit of tick damage down to secure those picks. One thing I want to say, the Seraphine ults have been really nice so far.
Yes, they have, but you can't escape from the event horizon, and Fake now in a dangerous spot. No way to get out as Element, who has been bullied pretty much the entire game, now 3, 4, and 2, is starting to find a lot of value with these stuns.
If you told me that the Vygar was going to have a better KDA at the 25-minute mark than the Silas, I would have laughed right in your face. And I would have put money on it. This is crazy, because the Silas has fallen off exponentially. And as to why that is, I'm not quite sure. A little bit on the decision-making. I don't get the solo dive in there on that Baron Pit fight. But he's got to try to find a way to have a little bit more impact, because falling behind in the build... Vygar's going to start to scale really fast as those stacks continue to pile up. The survivability is up with the Seraphs now finished and upgraded as well. This is an interesting turn of the events here for Jenks.
Oh, man. Malinov about to get the 1v3 treatment here. No chance whatsoever. No respect to the stun. Element is on a rampage as the stacking has been completed.
I wish I could see the number of stacks that we have on that Vygar there, because that was a lot of damage from that W with 2 early items that aren't necessarily what are going to pump damage like that. Massive from the Vygar. A 400 gold shutdown there as well has completely turned around the state of this game after we were kind of poking fun at it there in the early, which is expected, obviously, from the laning phase. Ezreal starting to come online as well. Almost 70 CS up there on the lane opponent. Everything has seemed to completely flip sides for this Jenks team, and they've really found a way to get themselves back in.
And now they just have to close it out. And quite honestly, I think that leans into Edmond a little bit more. And we start to see some of those QSSs or some of that extra merc treads coming out. That might be the chance. Of course, right now, Lilting Lullaby just to get themselves out of harm's way. Fake just trying to stay alive at this point. Dragon will be up in about a minute. That'll be the next objective to play for. It won't be Soul, but Soul Point is more than enough. So, who goes for what at this point? Jenks Varsity rules the field, and they are doing a 1-4 split, which is pretty funny to see, but Element does have the TP available, so you can split on this side and just look to TP in.
Yeah, I'm a little curious as to what has happened to cause kind of this borderline meltdown in positioning for Edmond. They're putting themselves in spots that leave them so susceptible to picks throughout the map, and it's happened twice in a row already. I will say, looking at kind of the control of vision on the map, they are pushed back into the lower third. They don't have much. They have nothing topside. Topside is completely under the control of Jenks. Bot side, they're pushed down to that red buff line. So they don't have much to work with at all.
Nope, and that line is about to be crossed very, very quickly. Take a look at where Jenks Varsity is roaming. Malinov is once again in a dire straits. No way to stay away. Is able to try and run, and it looks like you are actually safe. Plight was not able to land that repel, and because of that, you are safe. Malinov had to burn a lot of ability to get out, had to burn that World Ender, which is a great tool to stay alive. Instead, it's just going to be a chance at a steal. How much are you actually going to get here? Not much at all. Smite comes through. It's going to be full dragons to finish. And now, it's just how much are you going to get out from behind? A flash away as Element does not get caught. Ori realizing Kai Sin roam to the top side. And nothing more to have. So very nice pickup by Jenks.
Yeah, I think for Edmond right now, I actually don't know if you win the fights anymore. Team fight wise. I think you have to start to look towards some side lane macro to try and split up Jenks a little bit, but in order to do so, you need vision, because you can't have opportunities like what was down there in bot lane for Malinov, who was a sitting duck for 4, and only escapes that because Camille doesn't hit the repel. So, it's got to get cleaned up a little bit. We have to start to find ways to get some advantages on other sides of the map that is going to escape the 5v5 for a little bit, is some aspects of your team need to play catch up. They're a little bit far behind, and this lead has completely shifted. But the game plan's got to shift as well.
Yes, everything has to be adjusted out. And granted, one of the big calls, hey, just hit level 16, hit level 18. Take a look at the level discrepancies here. Fake is at level 13, has not been able to farm up as much as Pantarai has in this area. Just hit level 14, still waiting for 2 more. So it wouldn't be a bad idea, as you said, to kind of shift ideas. Wait it out. Don't look for the engages and just try and play smart. That could be a real thing. Of course, with Baron on the table, it's a little bit of a problem to look for. Fake just trying to get a little bit of extra damage down and waiting for an opportunity. Ori once again trying to push out the side lanes, and that might be the big chance. But they want to get the lanes in the proper spot first. Jenks Varsity don't really have to deal with any of that. They can go ahead and keep playing with all 5 members around this Baron pit. Yeah,
and you have the constant threat of this Camille engage. I like this poke. EP going to come through to kind of try and shut down this, what looked like to be an opportunity to engage. Now, the problem is, for Edmond, is you don't win the fight now. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this flash engage.
I mean, you say you don't, but when you find the catch, it's good, and you only lose the support. What a team fight engage from Edmond Memorial. There was no element to be there. Lots of 3 for 1. Jenks Varsity go, what the heck just happened?
I'm going, what the heck just happened? What a flash engage from Pink. That was amazing. How do you, as Jenks Varsity, sit there, 4 members on the map, you're on vision, they know you're there, expect a Seraphine to go, okay, I'm flash R-ing. Hits 3, massive engage, and Pink actually, I think, just single-handedly won that fight with that ultimate. That was massive. They just secured the Baron. What a turnaround for Edmond. I eat my words again, which I think is going to be the common trend, and I'm ready for it. That is exactly what Edmond needed.
Of course, they need a little bit more. They're almost in the same position that they were in game number 1. Remember, game number 1, they didn't really have closeout elements. And that last catch, yes, Pink had an amazing ultimate. Her encore was solid. We had to remember, Baiko was the one that got that route down. That was the whole reason the flash could follow. We need to see more. Need to see a few more chances here, and we need to see that ability as it's another one. Well, that might be the chance. True Shot Barrage lands, but Pink is able to get away with just scantly any life. Oh my gosh, that could have been an easy turnaround on the backside. A situation that Edmond drastically do not want to give.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say before Seraphine interrupted me with that was, as you let this game continue, the poke damage from the Ezreal and the Vigar is going to get to a point where it almost seems unbearable. Vigar, of course, is just going to continue to scale. Silas is in a precarious position here, and 100% is going to drop. And Vigar finding that frag as well. It's a little worrying for me. Even though Edmond had that play to get back into it, they need a lot more of that because Jenks is just going to continue to scale and heavily outrange.
Edmond Memorial showing up here saying we may be the 4C, but we're looking for that dub. We get a free tower in the mid lane. Jenks Varsity starting to realize that things that shit to back. And I think, honestly, everyone is on their toes. This upcoming Dragon, Jenks are able to give up. And K-Factor, we might be headed towards that all-important 7th. We might be in a situation, well, oh my gosh, we're playing for all 7 regular Dragons to show up.
I love the tension that comes with the 7th Drake. Because neither team at that point wants to give it. It's not in the game plan. Malinov has to be careful here. This Zac engage could be nice. Way to dodge both engages there from the Zac and Camille. That could have been a dangerous counter engage too, because all 4 members from Edmond were there to fight it back. Malinov's got to get back in that pit, has TP up to do so. And let's see if Edmond's going to be able to get the soul point back.
I mean, they're looking. They're waiting for a chance here. This is drastic. Jumper on lands, but that's Kai'San to go in. What a challenge back! Jenks Varsity get the perfect engage that they could call for. What a slingshot in, and it's death blooming around. However, a challenge right back out as Malinov is still available, and Pink is still alive as well. So the safety is aligned, and Malinov, remember, was another champion that was very, very strong. No real damage behind, so Malinov is free to hit. However, World Ender is down. Maybe you can chunk him out now. Another slam goes down. Hextech Ultimatum gonna keep him in the row. Another jump in, gets another knockup, but that's the damage. Malinov is just too strong. There's no way this happens. Malinov is still alive. What a CCJ. The heals come through. Edmond Memorial quite literally stand their ground and win the fight.
That was a literal 2v5. That actually was a 2v5, and Aatrox and Seraphine combining. Malinov and Pink, 2 of the highest impact players for this team so far in this game, are showing why they are doing so. It should be that 3rd mountain for them as well. And we are going to go to a 7th Drake point in this game. I actually cannot believe what I just watched. That Aatrox was not doing that much damage prior to this point. Shows up, is healing. That World Ender lasted for so long, finding that pick on Element in the backline. What an amazing play.
Malinov is also the only player on Edmond's side to be level 18. Nye, the only player in the game to be level 18. You do not test this Aatrox. You do not mess with the Aatrox. The Malinov in game 1 on the Cassante put on a show of being the front liner, and now the one to seal the deal. And let's not forget Pink with the heals, with the shields, with the damage, and then some. She put on a clinic of how to support without getting caught. It was necessary. It was fundamentally well done. And now Edmond Memorial get to look further. You have now just won the fight. You have a 4K lead. And yes, the soul could be on point. But before then, you want to break open the base. How do you do it if you're Edmond Memorial?
Off the back of your full build Aatrox. I'll tell you right now. Completely full build, almost 2 complete items ahead of the Zac in the top side. It's the only champion full build right now in the game. And we just saw what that was capable of. I can't stress enough the importance of Pink playing the way she did in that fight. Able to space away against 3 there when the Aatrox was even diving on the Vigar, alone against 3, able to stay alive, finding the shields, the heals, the roots. I don't think they missed a single ability in that entire process. That was necessary. Now, if you're Jenks, how do you recover from such a demoralizing fight like that? You forget about it. And if you're Edmond, you need to try and do that with all 5 members present.
I mean, the thing is you can't put it out of your head. The reason being is that was a perfect engage coming through from the side of Jenks Varsity. That was one that they wanted to fight. Kaisen was the one to fire away. That's gonna be a charm though as the secondary fight breaks out and Element is just dead. Element's got it now, a teammate to come in. Fake is still alive. Why? Why is Fake alive here? It's a huge boon. Again, as Jenks Varsity have to run for the hills.
Yeah, and now, I mean, this should be Baron. You have the Camille to confirm it, but maybe they won't go for it just immediately. It looks like Seraphine route coming through. This is where this game starts to get a little stagnant and starts to get a little tense because both teams are capable of winning team fights. Aatrox, no world ender here, but here comes the dive in. This is going to get dangerous fast.
Oh, it is wholly dangerous already. Hextech ultimatums are traded, but it's way more in favor of Edmond Memorial right now. Members are falling on Jenks Varsity. The Varsity squad sent back to the locker, and I don't think they can hang on. They have to run for their life. As the curtain call closes out their doom, it is going to be Edmond Memorial to win yet another team fight.
And this is going to be a lot of base damage too. There's some massive respawn timers here. Vigar is going to be back up, but you have the top lane pushed, mid lane's pushed. This tower for sure falls. Question on if they get two or not. But what a way to turn this around. I mean, we were just talking a couple minutes ago, or maybe I was, about how it looked like this game had completely flipped in favor of Jenks. And now it has completely flipped in favor of Edmond to an even bigger extreme.
I never doubted them. We saw the early game go a little bit awry, but it's more in favor than anything. Edmond are showing up here today, and I couldn't ask for a better game. They are just one game away, one single team fight away from taking the victory, and Jenks Varsity need a perfect re-engage. And honestly, from them, I need to see Element and Stop Scuttle come alive. They need to be a little bit more awake and find these opportunities. You have a fully stacked Rod of Ages on Element. You also have the Rabbit on Sense Gap and the Void Staff now in pocket. These are all powerful items to try and get a catch.
Yeah, I have to say that Element's positioning has been very poor the last two fights. Has actually been...
When we saw earlier was great.
Yes, and I don't know why it's changed, but Element was almost frontlining in that last fight, so that's a little bizarre. But he's got to get behind this front line that he has on his team. Great secure, that was close, and now they're gonna try and what is that?
Just into the enemy team, and I think that's it. Encore goes the long ways, and yes, Kaisen is able to make it in, but that's picks on the back end. However, the main damage dealers are still more than alive. Ori ready to try and check him out, and guess who found him in the back line? Maldoff with a massive damage spike. Ori is still getting chunked out here, and that's the burn that you need. Blobs are popped as the finish is in sight. Edmond Memorial find a massive dub. Of course, with the ADC still up, you can't finish, but guess what you can get? It might be soul for Edmond Memorial.
I mean, we were talking about it right before it happened. At that time, we're flashing into 5. So I don't know. Now, I will say the Ezreal damage there was pumping after that initial engage went down, and there was a lot of damage coming through. If Malinov wasn't playing Aatrox and wasn't healing for the full health bar off of 1Q, Malinov would have dropped there because Ezreal was doing a lot. So how do you, as Jenks, now in a position where, not lying, this game is completely lost, how do you, as Jenks, work with this Ezreal and work with this poke damage to try and make the adjustments to fight back into it? Because you can clear waves and you can do as much as you can to stall out this game. How do you flip the game?
You still just try and find the likes of Baiko and Ori, because for as much as we've seen this game, Ori has actually been behind from the early stages, looked okay, and yet with the shutdowns that went Element's way, Ori is actually sitting in a really dangerous spot. Only 3 items deep, needs a 4th behind to really hit larger damage scaling. You went for hard scaling with the Rod of Ages and the Leandry, so not the burst. There's a way to do it though. You find a few members, you find the catch on the back end, another beautiful encore to ensure Panterai can't get away. Drawn into the fray, the Udyr does go down, and there ain't a way to stop it. You were talking about what Jenks Varsity needs to do to get back in the game. It's to not get caught. That's your main goal.
Yeah, but if you're Edmond, the only thing you're trying to do is push the pressure and find picks. You're trying to catch them, and that's a huge E.
I mean, if you can get another one, I think that's good. That's a jump in. And now a catch. You just found Stop Scuttle. Stop Scuttle, though, is not going to be found out, as that's a really good Event Horizon. That does section everyone away, because Baiko's not in the fight. Baiko's all the way back in your own side jungle, and there's nothing to be done about it. So honestly, that's a chance. But Scuttle is going to get jumped on. Good Event Horizon again to try and keep away. The safety is there, but the push by 3 is real. Edmond Memorial is going to take the inhibitor, and that's all they need right now.
Yeah, Edmond, they need to be a little bit careful here. The focus should be on Siege, not pushing for these picks, which are honestly not necessary in the current moment. You have the Baron buff there. You should just be trying to melt as many towers and siege the inhibs as much as you can. The Event Horizon and the Vygar is really proving to be very strong in terms of sectioning off this team, but they need to keep doing that instead of fighting in the front lines. And if they're doing that, Jenks is going to find their way back little by little. They're doing a lot of damage. The Aatrox had Edge of Night, has the Maw as well, and the Vygar was doing half health bar Ws. And now it looks like a very promising engage if they could try to finish it off here.
I mean, they're going to give it their best shot. There is no Lilia to help out, but take a look who's in the backside. Ori trying to run interference, and they still get the kill. Baiko is standing front and center because you are strong. Shot 1, shot 2, the shots heard around the world. Baiko is now going to try and kite out Panzerai, but I don't think you want to follow up because in comes Kaisen. Lilia now just joining the fight, and yes, it's a trade for 2 for 2, but the base is being overwhelmed as Edmond Memorial had broken that mid lane inhibitor.
Yeah, and a Nexus turret almost falling there as well. Again, Element is the first to die in that fight, and Jin able to find it. The backline access, though, was pretty wide open there for Edmond. They were able to find their way through. The Aatrox survivability, the way that Aatrox is surviving that long after just eating Q after Q from this Ezreal is doing a lot for this Edmond side, because they're focusing so much on trying to get the Aatrox out of the fight that they're kind of forgetting to protect the Vygar and keep some of that front line available for the peel. And right now, Jenks is getting pick by pick. They're trying to cut away this gold lead, but Edmond really is putting themselves in just a solid finish state as this game continues to progress. No, and I mean, me and you were talking a little bit before this started about what this looked like on paper, and right now, Ezreal has found himself in a very interesting position. And a kill.
That hurts. I have no idea what went down, but I think Stop Scuttle was trying to push a wave and just got run down. And this staggering of death now leaves the Baron open for aggression. It's only 20 seconds away, and that's way further than the timeline is. Stop Scuttle is 45 seconds out. I didn't even realize we're 45 minutes into the game. That is crazy timing now, so the death timers are way too long. And then you lose your jungler, Jenks Varsity, losing again and again and again.
Yeah, I don't see a win con. I think it's pretty much done. The scaling now is way too much, and the Vygar is not able to pump anymore with all of these players at level 18. You have the Mountain Soul Shield helping to alleviate some of that initial Q damage and W damage. It's just too strong. The backline access as well is massive.
Don't tell me. Are they gonna get everything? Are they also going to get Elder? Oh my gosh. They're going to set a little bit of Fnatic Brush, which is real. Oh no, who do they catch? Who do they catch here? Silently waiting. That's a catch. Down goes Flight Icarus. Flew way too close to the sun that they didn't know was straight in their face. That is a death that you did not want to see, as Elder will go the way of Edmond Memorial.
Yeah, and now this was the only way that Jenks didn't lose, is to not give this Elder. And with level 18 champions, that was an 87 health smite with an Ezreal ult just barely before it. That was dangerous. But now with Edmond, with the Elder, with this engage, I think they just run it down. I think it's over.
Yes, it is. Catches beyond catches. Kaisen. The HP does you nothing when Elder is breathing on your neck. Edmond Memorial in a fight for the ages, in a 46.5-minute barn burner, have fought their way to glory. A 2-0 it may be, but you had to watch it to believe it. Edmond Memorial take down Jenks Varsity.
What a massive performance from this 4 seed in the bracket. I mean, going into this, completely unexpected, come out and show why they're just a little bit of a hidden gem. Edmond Memorial, solid performance coming out, and really showed why they deserve to be in that spot in the first place and come out with a 2-0 sweep win. That was perfection. And that was also some exciting League of Legends.
I loved every moment of it. It might have been a long one, but the players have fought hard. And honestly, these high schools deserve every bit of congratulations, not only to Edmond Memorial, but also to Jenks Varsity. The squad fought hard. They have made it here into the OSSAA championships, and they fought alongside some of the best. So I loved every single moment of it. K-Factor, if you had to pick one person that was that leader, that was the MVP for the squad for Edmond, who would it be?
I have to say, I'm going Malinov. I think you have to. I think you have to in that case. But I will say that Pink was a very close number 2.
True. Very, very true. They have fought so well and so well done overall. It will be Edmond Memorial to raise that trophy as they are your champions here today. You can see on the screen the amount of damage done by Malinov specifically. It was crazy to see here, and honestly, I couldn't ask for a better way to end it. So thank you so much to everyone who did tune in. Of course, you got to see our lovely faces, and we thank everyone who watched also the Rocket League Championships earlier on the Splatoon 3 Championships behind. We had such a fun time here. And again, shout out to the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association for putting on these finals for us. It was a wonderful time to be here. My name is Orbital. With me has, of course, been K-Factor and, of course, Blasky with the Stay Plugged In squad on production. We thank you so much for tuning in here at the Play versus production of the OSSAA Championship, and we thank you all so much. Have a great night.